As dawn breaks over the ancient city of Jerusalem, the narrow streets are alive with the sounds of a restless crowd. The air is heavy, thick with anticipation and sorrow. Amid the chaos, a procession winds its way toward Golgotha, the place of the skull. At its center walks Jesus of Nazareth, bearing the weight of a wooden cross and the burden of humanity's pain. His steps are slow, his body battered from the night's ordeal, yet his presence commands a quiet dignity that draws the gaze of all who witness this moment. Among the throng that follows him are women, daughters of Jerusalem, whose hearts are pierced with grief. Their cries rise above the jeers and shouts, a lament that echoes the ancient tradition of mourning. These are not the women closest to Jesus, like Mary his mother or Mary Magdalene, but rather the women of the city, moved by compassion and horror at the suffering of an innocent man. Their weeping is not just for Jesus, but for the tragedy unfolding before their eyes, a tragedy that will ripple through the generations. The Gospel of Luke, in chapter 23, verses 27 through 31, captures this poignant moment. A large number of people followed him, including women who mourned and wailed for him. Jesus turned and said to them, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and for your children. For the time will come when you will say, 'Blessed are the barren women, the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed.' Then they will say to the mountains, 'Fall on us,' and to the hills, 'Cover us.' For if men do these things when the tree is green, what will happen when it is dry?" These words, spoken in the midst of excruciating pain, are both mysterious and profound. They reveal not only Jesus' compassion for those around him, but also his prophetic insight into the fate awaiting Jerusalem. To understand the full weight of this exchange, we must look deeper into the lives of the women, the history of the city, and the heart of Jesus himself. Who were these women? In first-century Jerusalem, women played a vital role in the spiritual and social life of the community. They were often present at public events, especially those involving mourning or tragedy. The daughters of Jerusalem were likely ordinary women of the city, perhaps mothers, wives, sisters, and daughters who had witnessed the violence and injustice of Roman rule. Their lament was an expression of solidarity, a public act of empathy for a fellow human being facing a cruel and unjust death. But their tears were also rooted in the traditions of Israel. Throughout the Hebrew scriptures, women are depicted as mourners, raising their voices in times of national crisis or personal loss. Their presence at the road to Calvary is a continuation of this sacred duty, a reminder that even in the darkest hour, compassion endures. Yet as Jesus turns to address them, his words shift the focus. He does not ask for their pity. Instead, he redirects their sorrow, urging them to weep for themselves and for their children. This is a startling response. In the face of his own suffering, Jesus is thinking of others, of the coming days when Jerusalem will face destruction, suffering, and loss on a scale unimaginable. Historically, Jesus' warning proved tragically accurate. Within a generation, in the year 70 AD, Roman armies besieged Jerusalem, leading to the destruction of the temple and untold suffering for its people. The prophecy in his words, "Blessed are the barren women, the wombs that never bore and the breasts that never nursed," speaks to the desperation and horror of those days, when even the joys of motherhood would seem a curse in the face of such devastation. The phrase, "If men do these things when the tree is green, what will happen when it is dry?" is a haunting metaphor. The green tree represents a time of life and opportunity. Jesus himself, innocent and righteous, yet suffering at the hands of injustice. If such cruelty can befall the innocent, how much worse will it be when the tree is dry, when sin and rebellion have run their course and judgment falls upon the city? In this brief exchange, Jesus demonstrates his deep empathy and his prophetic vision. He refuses to focus solely on his own pain. Instead, he invites the women, and all who hear his words, to consider the larger story unfolding. His message is not one of despair, but of warning and hope. Even as he walks the path to his own death, he calls others to reflection, repentance, and readiness. Spiritually, this encounter invites us to examine our own hearts. The women of Jerusalem wept for Jesus, moved by the suffering they saw. But Jesus challenges them, and us, not to stop at sympathy. He calls us to look inward, to recognize the brokenness of our own world, and to respond with more than just tears. He urges us to prepare our hearts, to seek justice, and to care for those around us in times of trial. This moment on the road to Calvary is a testament to the humanity and divinity of Jesus. He is not aloof or detached from suffering. He enters into it fully, yet his vision extends beyond the immediate pain. He sees the sorrow of the women, the fate of the city, and the need for repentance and hope. For believers, this passage is a call to compassion and action. It reminds us that following Jesus means more than feeling sorrow for his suffering. It means engaging with the pain of the world, working for justice, and preparing our hearts for the challenges ahead. For students of the Bible, this encounter offers a rich tapestry of historical, cultural, and theological insight, a window into the world of first-century Jerusalem and the enduring message of the gospel. And for all who are curious, this brief but powerful scene invites us to ponder the depth of human empathy, the reality of suffering, and the hope that can arise even in the darkest moments. As we reflect on this encounter between Jesus and the women of Jerusalem, we are left with a question that echoes through the centuries. How would you have responded if you were one of those women? Would you have wept? Would you have listened to his words? And how do you respond today as you witness the suffering and injustice in your own world? This moment, recorded in the Gospel of Luke, is an invitation to compassion, to reflection, and to a deeper understanding of the heart of Jesus.
Thank you for watching this video. If you found the content meaningful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Faith and Glory channel so you won't miss out on more inspiring videos about faith and life values. See you in the next video!